Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast brought to you by our friends over at Briar-Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people at Briar-Greaves Insurance. For more information, visit briargreavesinsurance.com or give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It is a Friday edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope you're getting ready for a very exciting weekend as we recap today's practice. And we appreciate everyone joining us a little bit earlier than when we've done the show. But we just want to get the news out to you as quickly as possible. The big news today was no Baker Mayfield. So with Kyle Trask in, it was no Baker, no problem. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is SR Scott Reynolds. We are live from the Advent Health Training Center. Thanks to the Buccaneers for letting us use one of their rooms. Scott, bit of a craziness early on with Baker Mayfield not available, but I think by the end of it, our nerves were calmed a good amount.
Yeah, and the best news of this, of course, is Baker Mayfield suffered a contusion on his hand. It's a bruise. Not expected to miss some time, Matt. I think if this is a game week, Baker Mayfield suiting up and playing. But they just want to be, they want to take every precaution possible. Because really, with Baker Mayfield having a really good training camp so far, I think, right? Only 4 interceptions, lots of touchdowns. He's made some plays, looks comfortable. He's got a great rapport with not only Mike Evans, but more importantly, Josh Grizzard, the play caller. Seems like this offense, I don't want to say it's ready to pick up where it left off, but because there has been some back and forth, some give and take between the offense and the defense. But today, even without Baker Mayfield, this offense seemed to really click today, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, I thought the offense, and I'm not trying to stir up any controversy here. I'm not going to say, should the Bucs trade Baker Mayfield? But the offense had one of its best days of training camp so far. It's also interesting because I thought Baker had one of his better training camps during yesterday's practice.
Yeah.
And he was on a pitch count a little bit. We saw a little bit more of Kyle Trask. We saw a little bit more of Connor Bazelak as well. And then Baker does not participate today. And of course, in typical Baker fashion, he wasn't even in uniform today. Didn't even, mock put on the helmet and the shoulder pads. Yeah. He still lined up at wide receiver when the offensive line, went up with Kyle Trask when they were going against air, not when the defense was actually out there. But yeah, Baker got the day off and it was Trask time. It was time to see what's up with Kyle Trask. And I would say he certainly answered the call. And he got better as practice went on, which is really good to see. There were some misfires at first. There were some incompletions. But it turns out when you have great players like Mike Evans and you have a great running game like Rashad White and Bucky Irving from what we saw today, it makes the quarterback's job a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. And, the cool thing about this for Kyle Trask is he got some props from Todd Bowles at the end of practice. He said this was Kyle Trask's best training camp practice of the year, and it certainly looked like that was the case. And again, he was working with the ones, but Todd Bowles is very happy with Kyle Trask. He's a big Trask fan, so is Jason Light. And even though we haven't seen Kyle Trask really outside of a few snaps here and there, this team believes in him. And we saw some red zone touchdowns today. He had a nice one to Jalen McMillan.
Yeah.
Who was the other one he threw the touchdown to?
He was looking at the tight ends as well.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Yeah, he had Mike Evans in the corner of the end zone. Some tight end work as well. Yeah, he went on a run, Kyle Trask. They were working in red zone. And yes, it was Jalen McMillan back at the end zone. McMillan was able to toe tap, keep both feet in. And then it was like Mike Evans pretty much one play later, maybe 2 plays. But Kyle Trask, I think the last 2 days, the Bucs have really done some of their best work offensively in the red zone, which is a really good sign to see. And Kyle Trask, following the lead of Jameis Winston and Tom Brady and Baker Mayfield, find Mike Evans, and you'll end up, having a pretty good day.
Speaking of Mike Evans, he got more work than he anticipated.
That's what I was going to say.
And here's why. Because you had Cam Johnson, number 19. He was out.
Look at that look by Cam Johnson. Tez Johnson. That is a gnarly look.
Yeah, Tez Johnson was out. Ryan Miller was out. Of course, Chris Godwin has been out, right? Trey Palmer was out. So this was a day where Mike Evans literally had to play some more because they just didn't have bodies. Let's count them up. Tez Johnson, Cam Johnson, Trey Palmer
3,
was out. Ryan Miller.
4,
Chris Godwin.
5.
That's 5 receivers out.
Yeah. And they just brought in a new wide receiver with
Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith the other day.
Exactly. So Garrett Green actually had a pretty decent day today. He's in kind of that battle royale spot with the likes of Dennis Houston, who really showed up well yesterday. It wasn't as big of a day for him today, but Garrett Green had some nice catches today. Not so much in the red zone, but throughout practice. But say what you want about Kyle Trask. He had a good day, but Connor Bazelak had 4 touchdown passes today.
He did. Listen, is he going to make the team? No. Is he going to be on the practice squad? Well, maybe, because Michael Pratt is dealing with a back issue at the moment. But hey, he knew he was going to get more snaps today with Baker Mayfield not participating, and he made the most of it. And I think that's really all you can ask for from Connor Bazelak at this point. There were some incompletions. There were some bad and poor throws, but when the time was right, he found Tanner Tala, who continues to get a lot of targets. Again, I don't know if he's going to crack into that tight end lineup. Bazelak also had a touchdown to Bucky Irving today.
That's right.
Found Bucky. Bucky was like a foot over the goal line in the end zone, but it was a touchdown. We were over there and in that right spot. So overall, solid quarterback play, I would say, from the backups, Kyle Trask and Connor Bazelak. And you know what? It's a nice appetizer, a nice precursor for what we're going to see in the preseason, because we're not going to see Baker Mayfield, at least for that first one.
For sure.
We might see them in the second one, because remember, they play the Buffalo Bills that third preseason game, but they also play the Bills in the regular season. So Todd Bowles actually spoke about that the other night, that they're going to play the starters. They're trying to figure it out when. It might be that second game against Pittsburgh, just based on who they play in the regular season as well. But so far, so good from Kyle Trask, from Connor Bazelak. And I think with Kyle Trask, we've had this discussion, in recent podcasts and in recent days. Can Kyle Trask be your QB2? Can he win you a couple of different games if it comes to it?
Right.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I still want to see another veteran arm in there, or just an arm at this point. And
they're down to 2 quarterbacks.
Todd Bowles said we're working on it. You have to bring someone in at this point.
Well, they had to shorten practice today. They're supposed to go to 11:10, and I want to say that they shorted by 45 minutes or so, just because you only had 2 quarterbacks to throw the ball and hand off to. And it's folks, it's hot down here in Tampa, Florida, and so you have to be mindful of that. You can't have 2 quarterbacks in training camp and just have them constantly out there on the field, running, throwing, handing off the ball. It's just too much. So they had to shorten practice today as a result of that. And maybe Baker Mayfield comes back. I don't think he's coming back tomorrow, because why would he? This team's going to have Sunday and Monday off, so let him rest that hand up. Again, it's a bruise on his hand, on his throwing hand. So you want to be careful about him. But the other thing too, Matt, is that we didn't see any interceptions from the defense today.
Correct.
And that's kind of been a staple. This is only the second day, according to our own Bailey Adams, who is Johnny on the spot with all the statistics. The Buccaneers defense has had an interception in every practice but 2. They didn't have one the second day of practice, and then today was the other one that they didn't. But that doesn't mean that there weren't some good defensive performances. I would say easily the best player on the field today was Christian Izien. He just was an absolute monster, continues to play exceptionally well. J.J. Roberts is also impressive, but it's a thing where you've got Christian Izien, Jacob Parrish, J.J. Roberts, all vying for that nickel cornerback spot. And it's going to be a fun battle. All 3 of those guys have earned my trust. Yeah. Whoever ends up playing, I think they're going to rotate them in. But whoever ends up being that guy, the cream has risen to the top, and it's actually a logjam with all 3 of them playing really, really well. We did see Benjamin Morrison create a takeaway today, punching the ball out of Mike Evans' hands.
Yeah, this was very early on in practice. I'd say within 10 plays of practice. And Kyle Trask hit Mike Evans on, about like a 10-yard route, a little out route, whatever, started heading up the field. And it caught Mike Evans by surprise, because Morrison was coming from behind him. And, man, he punches the ball out. And it went loose. It went out of bounds, so the offense would have held on to it. Later on, Benjamin Morrison, this one did not force a fumble, but we were right in front of it. I'm telling you, I've been saying it to people, watching Benjamin Morrison do the peanut punch or swing and try to punch the ball out. It's like watching Thor throw his hammer
Yeah.
or swing his hammer when
That's
he's
right.
going against an opponent. It's an absolute wind-up. You hear the thud of
That's right.
him on the football or the shoulder pad or whatever that the offensive player is wearing. So Benjamin Morrison, again, like Tyke Smith was so big with that last year,
Absolutely.
punching the ball out and making plays. And it just shows that this team, this defense specifically, is going to find ways to make plays in more way than one. You don't intercept the ball, the quarterbacks are being a little more safe and secure.
That's
fine.
right.
We'll rip the ball out from you. So
A
we saw
takeaway
that
is a takeaway.
yeah, it doesn't
Interception or
matter
a
how you
fumble.
get it.
Yeah.
And we haven't even seen like the strip sacks because you're not really supposed to hit the quarterback and stuff like that. But even that's happened from time to time. Yaya Diaby did that earlier in training camp. Hassan Reddick has made a whole career on taking the football away. So Benjamin Morrison had that one earlier on. Christian Izzian had a forced fumble as well. And that one was very cool. The play could have been done. Like the whistle kind of got blown. But you know what? You're supposed to hold on to the football anyway. So Devin Culp, catch and run, as we've seen a lot during this training camp. That part was good from Devin Culp. But then Izzian at the end, again, just comes flying in. This was a little more like face forward, face to face, where Morrison was kind of more towards the side with his. And Izzian just, bam, punches it. Culp tried to jump on it, wasn't able to. Then it kind of flopped around a little bit. Kalijah Cansey. Stay healthy, Kalijah Cansey. Kalijah Cansey jumps on the football. You love seeing that effort from a defensive tackle. We've seen that before from Vita Vea. When he'll go and chase down a runner 20 yards down the field. Kalijah Cansey sprinted all the way over to the left side of the field, probably 10 to 20 yards, and goes and jumps on it. I love seeing the tenacity of this defense. They know when to have fun, because Hassan Reddick said we are having a tremendous amount of fun, but they also know that they can be great. They can be a top defense. And when you see that level of preparation and intensity and sprinting 20 yards to get a ball after the whistle was blown, how do you not love it, Bucs fans?
I did my SR's Fab 5 column this morning on just some notes. Matt and Bailey done a fantastic job with their Camp Insiders. So I kind of emptied out my notepad. Also got some scoop from some of my team sources. And folks, Vita Vea is just having a camp. He is a one-man wrecking crew, an absolute demolition. This is a picture from yesterday of Vita Vea and Graham Barton. And folks, this is every day. This is what Vita Vea has done to Graham Barton every single day in pads. And it's not, Matt, it's not that Graham Barton's playing bad. He's having a really good camp. It's just that if you say Graham Barton B+, Vita Vea A+, that's just what it is. And Vita is just, he is in seek and destroy mode.
Yeah, shout out Metallica.
He is doing it in the run game. He's doing it as a pass rusher. And Kalijah Cansey is also having an absolute excellent camp as well, just in a different way, with quickness being a flash, right? Whether it's, like you said, sprinting to the ball down the field and recovering the fumble, or just getting disruption and spoiling a run play in the backfield, or getting pressure on the quarterback. The two defensive tackles have just been phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, Logan Hall's looked really good too.
Yeah.
I was going to say those three guys in the interior, and we kind of, we're waiting to see the outside linebackers really come to the forefront this year, because last year that was an underwhelming position group, right? The defensive tackles led the way up front. I think that the defensive tackles are ready to pick up where they left off from last year. And now you've got Hassan Reddick, you've got Yaya Diaby, you've got Chris Braswell. All of these guys are really just stepping up on the outside. This defensive front has been super impressive. And again, I think today there were some bright moments. You maybe give the edge to the offense, but since the pads have come on, I think the defense has won the week. Would you say that's fair, Matt?
No doubt about it. They have won the week. But as we know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint with this team. But Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey, they are truly like thunder and lightning. With Vita Vea bringing that thunder and taking an entire offensive line to block one man, where Kalijah Cansey was very self-aware too, where he's like, I'm a little undersized, so I got to rely on my speed, and speed he does have. But I mean, there were times today, whether it was Chris Braswell, who you see there, whether it was Hassan Reddick and Yaya Diaby as well, even some of the other guys, like Jose Ramirez is making an effort. I'm not saying he's earned the last spot at outside linebacker by any means. But there were several times that like Bailey and I turned to each other and was like, was that a sack? But the fact that we're even questioning whether or not it's a sack, because you can't hit the quarterback. That's why we're questioning whether or not it's a sack, not like were they in the backfield. There were enough times where the outside linebackers continue to get into that backfield and just disrupt the vision, the overall play. And I think that was missing a little bit last year as well. There were close but no cigar situations, but then also there are times where you just want to collapse the pocket and make things uncomfortable for the quarterback, even if they do fire off a pass. Because you're not going to get 20 sacks in a game. That just hasn't happened. But you can, really make a quarterback feel uncomfortable 20 times in a game by going and collapsing that pocket. And it's great when you get pressure up the middle. We've seen that from the Bucs over the last 2 years with Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey leading the team in sacks. But that outside rush, that threat of looking over your shoulder, that threat of not knowing if the tackle is going to, get it done on a play, I think the Bucs are going to be able to strike fear into the hearts of a lot of opponents.
I agree. And you know what, Matt? We've talked about it before, but it bears repeating. Can Vita Vea be a 10-sack guy? Yeah. Can Kalijah Kancey? Yeah. Can Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick? Yes, they all can. But I'm almost like with you, I could see 8 sacks across the board for all 4. And Matt, if that's the case, if your top 4 pass rushers are giving you 32 sacks by those guys, then you sprinkle in some from a blitzing Levante David and Servassier Dennis. You mix in some with Antoine Whitfield Jr., Tyke Smith blitzing.
The blitzes they've had from the secondary have been insane. Jacob Parrish as well is in there all the time. Yeah, Jacob Parrish has been in there a good amount. I think the Bucs could come close to the sack record this year. Call me crazy, but the Bucs individual team sack record, maybe the most in Todd Bowles' history of calling defensive plays for the Buccaneers.
Yet to hit 50. It feels like this is the year they're going to do it. And I want to say 55 sacks is the team record under Monty Kiffin back in 2004 or 5. That's the most they've ever had. And they've come close to getting 50 with Todd Bowles. It's always like 47, 48 when you cobble them all together. But this could be the year where they do hit that. Speaking of hitting that, as we our good friend Shaggy, Pewter Report TV channel member, says, "What's good, Pewter Insiders?" Well, I'll tell you what's good. You guys are what's good because
you're great.
You're great, actually. Yes, well said, Matt. You guys have made our dreams come true because we have done it, folks. We have hit 20,000 subscribers.
20K
to the Pewter Report TV YouTube channel, folks. We're not kidding when we tell you this is our favorite hour. And it's usually 4 to 5, but we're doing this show early on a Friday because Matt's got to get out of town for the weekend, and it's a Friday. We want to bring this to you during the lunch hour. For some of you that can't typically join us from 4 to 5, maybe you're driving home or still at work. So we figured we'd give you this lunch hour Friday afternoon Pewter Report podcast here. But hey, you guys, we love doing this show for you. This is your program as much as this ours. We are your eyes and ears at training camp, in the locker room, out there on game days when this team is doing its thing. And it's a labor of love. We absolutely love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Here's what I want you to do. We're on the way to 21,000 now. You guys obviously love the Pewter Report TV channel.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Tell your friends about us. If you're on X, if you're on Facebook, share, a tweet about our podcast with some of your Bucs fans, with your coworkers, your friends and family members.
Tell your doctors, your chiropractors, everyone.
Tell everybody. We'd love to see this thing continue to grow. We're on the way to 21,000, and we'll be at 30,000 before you know it. But greatly thank you for this milestone number. I'm a huge Rondé Barber fan, my favorite Buc of all time, and that's kind of what we do. We take that player. It might be Benjamin Morrison. It might be my good friend Donnie Abraham, the Iceman, 21. So maybe we'll do like a Legends. We'll do Donnie and Benjamin Morrison for the next graphic. But thank you so much for that. And I'll tell you what too. We love every single person that watches the show, and those of you that have hit the subscribe button because it's free. We also really, really love our Pewter Platinum members as well. We want to take the time to thank everybody: Scott Federico, Rachel Gordon, Noah Parr, Scotty J, Dave Anderson, Hezo813, Ash Fishpool, Joel Elrican, Sam, John Dale Morris, Zach Brannigan, RP89, Connor for Reals, Kevin Thomas, Leighton Carter, who I just saw at training camp the other day. The guy is gifted. Brandon Riley, Alec Bickler, Nick Dubuque, Zach Jarvis, who was at our
he was also gave us a huge super chat.
That's right. Yeah. Mario Thomas, Eric McMillan, and our newest Pewter Platinum member, Dominic Tarantino. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And we want to thank our newest Pewter Report TV channel members. These are the ones who have joined, rejoined, or leveled up their subscriptions. Eric McMillan, Paul Morales, William Spencer, Richard Lansaw, The Blind Bastards Fury. I love that name.
Badass name.
Fantastic. Football fan, Gary Waldo and Dominic Tarantino. Thank you so much. You know, when you guys support our efforts like this monetarily and become the Pewter Report, Pewter Pro, Pewter People, Pewter Platinum, Pewter Premier members, it helps our travel budget. And we're sending next week. Actually, no, 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. Yeah, we have the Titans coming in next week for a joint practice on Thursday, and then that preseason game on Saturday. Football's back, Matt.
It is.
But in 2 weeks, we're going to send Adam Slavon and Matt Matera to Pittsburgh for that joint practice session against the Steelers. The Bucs will also be practicing on Wednesday at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh. And then on that Thursday, from what I understand, it's a closed practice. No fans are going to be allowed there.
Yeah.
It's just going to be media only. So we're going to be your eyes and ears. Matt and Adam will do a podcast up there on Wednesday and Thursday from Pittsburgh, and that's going to be at the stadium against the Steelers.
Yes, I am so looking forward to it. But yes, thank you to everybody that has subscribed, getting us to 20K. It's been an absolute blast. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And thank you to all of our Pewter Platinum and Premier members and all of our Pewter people, you know, for whatever level that you subscribe to us. In Pittsburgh, it's going to be great. We're going to be at the field where they filmed Batman.
That's right.
Bane blew it up, if people remember. But Aaron Rodgers enjoying training camp once again.
Yep.
We'll be telling all the secrets about what went on, because if there's no fans, there's not going to be too much filming or anything like that. So we'll have great reports, and of course, we'll talk all about it on the Pewter Report podcast. So stay tuned for that. And yes, all of your efforts and contributions do not go unnoticed, and we put it to good use, like the joint training camp in Pittsburgh.
That's right. Yep. So if you want to help support our efforts and our travel budget, we greatly appreciate it. Pewter People membership starts at $3.99 all the way to the Pewter Platinum membership at $24.99. We're going to get back to our Pewter Insider podcast, our bonus podcasts. Those are going to be starting next week because we don't have practice on Fridays anymore. That's kind of disrupted our schedule here. But greatly appreciate the support that you guys have given. If you can, we'd love to have you join our Pewter Report TV channel members, and greatly appreciate that as well. All right, Matt, we've got a couple super chats. Let's get to those, shall we?
Yes, starting off with Callie Bucks. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, how does Baker hit a helmet? Are we getting too close to the quarterback? Yes. I know that he's going to be fine, but can we give the man some room to throw?
Well, it's that delicate balance, right? You want the pass rush to get home, right? You don't want to see pressures. You want to see sacks, and you can't sack the quarterback or hit the quarterback in training camp. So you have to kind of pull up. But sometimes, and what happens sometimes too, is we've seen it. I mean, Vita Vea has driven Graham Barton back into Baker Mayfield, actually knocked him over. I think it was the first day of pads.
First day of pads, and then it happened during the night practice as well.
Yeah, so you have to, again, walk that fine line. You don't want to hurt your quarterback for sure, but you also want to get as close to simulating that true real pass rush, because, you know, let's face it, you want to hit your opposing quarterbacks. You want to sack them. You want to get them on the ground. The pressures aren't enough. And so it's just playing that kind of delicate dance of when is close enough and when is too close. And unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes. And a lot of times it's not the defensive player who hits Baker.
It's the it's the coming down on the helmet
of the offensive guard or tackle in front of him. So I don't remember that play actually happening. But
I don't recall Baker like shaking his hand or anything like that. But Todd Bowles. First of all, Todd Bowles said that they're not worried about it. So that's very, very important.
Exactly.
Secondly, he also said it was kind of like an accumulation of a couple of things that happened in practice. And sure, you don't want Baker to get hit. He is the type of quarterback that kind of craves getting hit in a weird way. Usually he's enforcing the physicality on it.
This is a guy that uses smelling salts before games,
exactly. But, you know, Baker's also, let's be realistic, he's on the smaller side of quarterbacks in the NFL. when the pocket does kind of collapse around him, that's not when he's at his best. So
Right.
hopefully Josh Grizzard, who's talking to Baker Mayfield in there, I hope we see, and we do watch it from time to time, and Baker certainly is on the move and he's mobile and everything like that. But I wouldn't mind a couple of more bootlegs from Baker Mayfield this year. I think he's very good at throwing on the run. It gets him out of the pocket. If it's a situation where Charlie Heck is struggling, and not saying that he will, but if he's struggling at offensive tackle, maybe you roll him away from what's going on, with the bootleg
I get
situation.
no problems rolling Baker Mayfield to the right. He's right-handed. You have Luke Gedeke there.
Yeah.
Luke's had a great camp.
He has been.
So, yeah, I'm fine with that. Well said, Matt.
Let's go to LDBC's Most Wanted. Thank you very much for this $4.99 super chat, who says, Saludos, Pewter Report. I've gone back and forth on this. Will Grizzard be the offensive coordinator in 2026? Considering his age and the offense, I can see him leaving. Hey, you super chat us. We're having to talk about whatever.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if Jason Light or Todd Bowles were here, they would smack you through the computer screen. they have forgotten where Mobile, Alabama is.
Right.
They don't even know where the Senior Bowl is anymore. They've missed so many Senior Bowls trying to replace Byron Leftwich, right? And then replace Dave Canales.
Yeah.
And then replace Liam Cohen. They haven't been to the Senior Bowl in the past 3 years because they've had to use that part of January to interview offensive coordinators in Tampa. So, they would love to see Grizz stick around. And I will say this, and it's no knock on Grizz, and we're going to have him on the Pewter Report podcast probably sometime next week or the week after, maybe after that Titans game before the lads go to Pittsburgh. He's kind of a matter-of-fact guy. He doesn't really command the room like Dave Canales did. Like when we first saw Dave Canales that opening press conference, he won the press conference. The guy had never called plays before at all.
Feed off of his positive attitude.
Yes, yeah. It's rainbows and sunshine coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And you just kind of looked at him and said, that's a future head coach right there.
Baker Mayfield called him I think an optimism bully or something like that. Yeah. Anyway.
And the thing with Liam Cohen is the offense was just so good last year, and he comes from that Sean McVay tree. And I think Liam's
he seemed the most coaching ready, in my opinion.
For sure. Yeah. He even seemed more ready than Dave Canales did, just from like a kind of gravitas standpoint.
Yeah.
It's like he had a little bit more swag and sway about him up there at the podium. Different style of communicator, very much effective like Canales, but Canales was just that, I'm going to force you guys to believe in me, right? Liam Cohen's kind of like, hey, this thing's going to work and let's go kick some ass. And both those guys got head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
Grizz just doesn't necessarily have that where he's going to wow you in the press conference. And the reason why that's important is because these guys interview for jobs with owners.
Yeah.
And then they have to be the face of
the
franchise.
face of an organization.
Right. Yeah. And it's not to say like Grizz won't be a head coach. He very much, I think, could be if he wanted to in time. But I don't know that he is going to be that lightning bolt out of the gate where after 1 year, he's going to be, the next big thing. I may be wrong. And honestly, Matt, if this team wins the Super Bowl.
Well, that's the thing that's what I'm thinking.
And they average 30 points per game. If
he becomes a head coaching candidate, it probably means that the Bucs have gone pretty far or maybe have won a Super Bowl. At the same time, Liam Cohen became the head coach. They didn't get out of the first round.
That's right.
So, you have to make sure everything is working at the same time, which is why we're focused so much, on the defense specifically. But Grizzard feels like he needs a little bit more experience. And I always go back to with Dave Canales. Yes, he was all about positivity and everyone fed off of his optimism. I think he benefited much more of the chaos of bad organizations like the Carolina Panthers, where they would just fire coaches left and right. And, it's essentially, okay, you lose for 2 games, you're done.
Yes.
Where they're not establishing a culture.
Yep.
Cohen was more head coach ready by any means. And you never know who's going to be available season by season. Some teams might just say, hey, you're averaging 30 points. We'll make you the head coach. Yeah. But I think other teams that want a little more sustainability, I think Grizzard needs a little bit more of that before he becomes the head coach. But again, if they score 35 points per game, it's going to be tough to be like, yeah, I don't want that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And we're going to see. Josh has gotten thumbs up from everybody, from Todd Bowles, from Baker Mayfield, from the offensive players we've spoken with. And the offense, there hasn't been any. It doesn't look discombobulated at any point in time. It looks like it's kind of picking up where it left off. At times, again, the defense has been better, and sometimes it's like I'll never forget when Josh McCown first came on the scene in 2014 as that free agent signing. Lovie Smith was here, and Jason Light was his first year as general manager. Josh McCown looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback. I mean, he was must have completed 80% of his passes, was lighting up the defense. You're like, wow, what a signing. This guy's going to be good. And Josh McCown was terrible. But the Bucs defense was even worse. It's like the reason why he looked good was because the Bucs defense in 2014 absolutely sucked. It was god awful, right? And so sometimes, when you're looking at it, it's like, why is the offense struggling? Oh, it's because the defense is really, really making plays.
Yeah.
And you can just see the talent on this defense. This isn't smoke and mirrors.
No.
This is a much improved defense. We'll see exactly how much improved once they're going up against other teams. But, Matt, there's no question there's more talent. And then the players that were here last year, they've leveled up in terms of their experience. They've got more experience. There's more plays to be made. They're playing tighter coverage. Their pass rush is improved. The reason why the Bucs offense isn't just lighting it up in training camp is not because the offense isn't good.
Right.
It's because the defense has gotten better, which is what we needed to see from this team. So I'm it might be a thing where this offense, looks like is it as good as it was under Liam Cohen? And they could just drop 37 on the Falcons like Liam Cohen did. Remember, Liam Cohen and the Buccaneers offense, 37 points out of the gate. That was Liam Cohen's debut. I'm not saying that's automatically going to happen with Josh Grizzard, but I wouldn't rule it out either, man.
I think a great indicator is going to be that joint training camp practice next week against the Tennessee Titans. And, of course, the Tennessee Titans are a bad team. That's why they had the first overall pick, and they got Cam Ward out of Miami. But I think in recent years, when the Bucs have had like back-to-back joint training camp practices, I know like with the Jets a couple of years ago, it was only one. But when they go two in a row, for whatever reason, it seems like the Bucs have been a little more sluggish or slow out of the gate in that first joint training camp practice, and then they come back swinging in the next one.
Yeah.
I think when they go up against Tennessee and Pittsburgh as well, but Tennessee's first on the schedule, that we're truly going to see domination from the Buccaneers on each side. And again, we have to take it with a grain of salt because it is the Titans and they are a bad football team. Some talent. I mean, Cam Ward will be interesting to watch, and Calvin Ridley at wide receiver is a respectable wide receiver for sure. But I think that's where we'll see the greatness of Baker. We'll see why Josh Grizzard is looked at as such a fantastic offensive play caller and things like that. And we'll certainly see it on the defensive side too. So that's why it's been great to see some back and forth. I thought the running game was really good by the Buccaneers today. We've been seeing a little bit more of an increase running the football, and Rachaad White in particular was the guy truly taking the ball and kind of taking it to the house. And Todd Bowles said yesterday, he said he's obviously lighter. He's lost some weight. Rachaad White has talked about that. But he's cutting faster. He's making decisions faster. That was kind of one of the big knocks on Rachaad White throughout his career with the Bucs.
Especially early on, right?
Yeah, but the way he's cutting, the way he's looking quicker, I mean, it's still Bucky's team, but Rachaad White, I mean, certainly has, given his best foot forward as well.
There's no more hesitancy in his game, right? And I think having Bucky Irving, who's a very urgent runner, because he's not that fast. I mean, Bucky's a 4-5 guy.
Right.
So he's got to just mash the gas pedal right off the get-go, right? Because he's going to get tackled from behind. We didn't see any 80-yard runs from Bucky. We saw some 30 and 40-yard runs.
Yeah.
But if he did have 4.3 speed or 4.4 speed, it might have been a little bit longer and might have taken him to the house. But, there's a player today that really kind of had some really good electric runs, and that's Owen Wright, the new running back, the guy they just signed from the Ravens. Because, Matt, we talked about how they're down to 2 quarterbacks out of the 4.
Yeah.
And right now, without Josh Williams and they cut DJ Williams, you only have 3 running backs on the roster.
They're down in a lot of spots. I'll cut you off, but like running back, they're missing a lot.
Receiver.
Wide receiver, they're missing a ton. Cade Otton still hasn't returned. Yeah. So you're lighter at tight end. I mean, we went into this camp talking about what's up with the offensive line. And,
Right.
now that they made moves there's injuries all over the place.
And folks, don't get terribly concerned about this because a lot of these are soft tissue injuries.
Correct.
And you're like, well, why does this keep happening? It is hot as hell, right? For these practices, there's no breeze. I mean, Matt, it's been a breezy day, maybe 2 or 3 days out of the entire training camp.
Yeah.
And so it's hot, humid. And listen, we're not in pads and helmets, but just sitting out there in the heat, it's like you're literally drenched in sweat after 5 minutes.
I've lost so much water weight.
Yeah, it's crazy. But this kid here, this is Owen Wright guy. He's a veteran. And, I was talking with Bailey Adams while he was doing the insider for today. And it's like, as crazy as this may sound, and Bucky Irving's a special player.
Yeah.
And so is Rashad White. Mm-hmm. If this team were to be without Bucky Irving and Rashad White for a couple of games, I think Josh Williams and Sean Tucker and Owen Wright could probably fill in amicably to where you're not saying, oh, well, they don't have Bucky Irving and Rashad White. I think as long as this offensive line is healthy and blocking in front of them and the tight ends do their job, these running backs are really, really good, and they're really, really capable. And I mean, we've seen what Sean Tucker can do in extended work.
Mm.
If Sean Tucker had to start, in other words, if you missed Bucky and Rashad, and Sean Tucker had to start, and Josh Williams was your number 2 running back, and he's healthy, and Owen Wright's your running back number 3, you can still thrive, I think, with those guys. Maybe not for the whole season, but
you can be successful for sure. And we've talked about the Kyle Trask fans and stuff like that. Sean Tucker has quite the following in the fan base behind him as well. People have been watching intently on some of these running back drills, who's got the best footwork, and everyone's saying Sean Tucker absolutely has the best footwork. He's probably the fastest running back out of all 3. Josh Williams has been a very exciting player. And Owen Wright, I mean, I'm not ready to say yet that he's going to be like NFL ready for this team, but he does have some experience. The Bucs brought him in for rookie minicamp not too long ago. He does have some experience too with he scored a touchdown against the Bucs with the Ravens in the preseason a couple of seasons ago. So a guy that's been around the block just a little bit, and with a great offensive line, you can find ways to get the job done running the football.
Christopher Cole says, any update on Levante David? No, not yet. Still has a lower body injury, leg injury.
Yeah, Todd Bowles said yesterday that it's not hamstring related. Just said that he's sore right now. And you know what? Again, Levante is one of those guys, just bubble wrap him until the start of the regular season. I would like to see Anthony Walker Jr. in there at some point, but at the same time, Scott, this is giving great opportunities.
Nick Jackson impressed me again today.
For Nick Jackson, who had a great day yesterday and looked pretty good today as well, and John Bullock too. So great rivalry between Iowa and Nebraska, and now they're competing with each other for one of these inside linebacker spots. Those are 2 players that I'm very intrigued to watch when they go up against Tennessee next week. But I think a theme for today, maybe even yesterday, but especially today, is just players making the most of their opportunities given more reps. It was Dennis Houston yesterday. It was Garrett Greenfield today. Kyle Trask, obviously. Connor Baselick as well. The offensive line, certainly, with Tristan Wirf's not available. And, a couple of guys on defense that we've talked about. So it's everyone making the most of their opportunities, and we're seeing it in many different spots.
One of the things I like is Servassier Dennis has been healthy and available for every practice so far. And I think that's a good sign. And I asked Todd Bowles yesterday, I'm like, hey, we haven't seen like the picks and the pick sixes from Servassier Dennis. And there's a great reason why. It's because he's doing such a great job in coverage that quarterbacks are avoiding throwing to his area of the field in zone or the guy that he's covering when he's in man coverage. So I think Servassier Dennis has kind of been a quiet star in practice just because he hasn't made the splash plays, but he's kind of been the eraser. He's kind of done what Levante David did early in his career where, Levante was on a tight end. He just erased that tight end. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like Levante had an interception or a pass breakup. He just had great coverage and didn't let his guy catch the ball. And that's kind of what we're seeing from Servassier. And boy, that was sorely missed last year.
I was about to say, good Lord, do they need that? Because we know how the tight ends absolutely eviscerated the Buccaneers, with their offense going against the Bucs defense last year. I hope Servassier Dennis can play for a majority of the season. I can't say that he will at this point, but it's been great seeing him out there every single day, every single practice. Even Hassan Reddick, he kind of talked about everyone having so much fun. And he said, we've been chirping, we've been loud. So I asked him, who's been loud? And he said, other people have kind of like one day someone else will be the big time talker. The next day it'll be someone else. But when he started actually giving names, I said, damn it, I want names. No, I didn't. But Sirmazi Dennis was one of the first people that he mentioned. So that's cool to see because Dennis is very much entering a new role as a every down starter, every game starter, which he hasn't done yet.
He's the quarterback of the defense.
Yes.
And that's such an important role. Very cerebral guy, knows this defense inside and out. He just has to be that operator now. He's got to operate the defense, and of course, he's got to stay out there and stay healthy. Folks, I've got an idea for you. If you're not doing anything on August 28th, why don't you go see the USF Bulls kick off the season against Boise State? That's going to be a fantastic game here in Tampa. A 5:30 start. They're actually going to kick off college football. Wow. That's the first college football game, I think, of the season. And you can grab your season tickets now for USF football. The great thing is they've got a couple of games on Thursday, and they've got a Friday night game as well. So even if you are, say, a fan of another school, let's say you didn't go to USF, but you live in the Tampa Bay area, you want to go watch some college football, USF, they've got some games that will allow you to do that. You can go watch some college football live at Raymond James Stadium and experience the excitement of college football in person on Thursday or Friday night. And then you have your full slate of games on Saturday where you can go up to Gainesville or Tallahassee or watch any college football game from your house. But USF is a program on the rise with Alex Golish getting that bowl win last year in dramatic fashion. They've got some fantastic players that they've been recruiting. They've done a great job of keeping the hometown kids here in green and gold from the Tampa Bay area. So go to usfbullstix.com and grab your season tickets. That, like I said, that 2025 season kicks off against Boise State at home on August 28th, and the homecoming game is on October 18th against FAU. I'm going to be there. Join the Bull Stampede. Get your season tickets now.
I want to get to a couple of comments as well. Let's start with Tony Kona, who says, how does second-year player Elijah Klein looking?
Yeah.
Is he a solid backup that can step in and provide a good safety net?
I love his mentality because he's the kind of guy, to me, Matt, when I see him out there, you throw him out in any situation. Hey, we need to play right tackle. We're down a couple tackles. Go out there and play. Sure, fine, whatever. He's cool as a cucumber. He doesn't get rattled. Mm-hmm. He doesn't go in the tank if a rep doesn't go his way. He's got a great positive attitude, and he's just like one of those guys. Like, whatever you need, coach. You want to play center? Snap the ball. You want to play guard? That's my home base. I'll play it. Sure. You need me at right tackle? Let's do it. And he's grown physically from year one to year two. And we've seen that in guys like Cody Malk and Luke Gedeke and all that. That's where you make the biggest jump and gains as an NFL player, especially getting that off-season weight room. There's no more combine training, no more pro days, no more college all-star games. You focus on being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And, God, when you're working out with guys like Tristan Wirfs and Graham Barton and Luke Gedeke, Cody Malk in the weight room, you're going to get bigger just from osmosis, just from being around those guys, right? But it's great. They push each other. That offensive line is a brotherhood. It's a gang. And he has fit in exceptionally well. He's a bit of a character, too. And I think that he just fits so well into that. I want to say he's a future starter. Maybe in time, he pushes Ben Bredesen and beats him out. But right now, he's that utility guy, kind of that Robert Hainsey was a little bit, Matt.
A little bit.
Without the experience.
Yeah, a little bit for sure, without the experience. But getting placed all over the place and being so open to it, like he's willing to try anything. It's like, hey, Elijah, you want to play tackle today? That sounds cool. Like that's how kind of chill he is about it. But he's willing to go out and help this team in any way possible. And that's been so important to this group as they try to figure out what they have in Michael Jordan and Tyler McClellan. Like, see if they can be actual fits as good depth as backups for this team. So Elijah Klein has been super, super important for what this team wants to do, even if he's not going to be playing in the regular season. As far as his reps and everything like that, too, he's had some good. He's had some where he struggled. It's kind of been like an up and down. But when you're moving all over the place, I mean, you're going against Hassan Reddick, and then you're going against Vita Vea.
Yep,
And so you are getting put through the car wash of like the best of the best that the Bucs have to offer, and it'll only make them better in the end. So
I agree.
It's good to see.
Scott Federico, one of our Pewter Report TV channel members, thank you, Scott, says, is it my imagination or have the training camp injuries actually increased under the new decreased work offseason CBA? You know, I'm old enough I can answer that question, because when I first started covering this team in 1995, Sam Weish had 2-a-days. Tony Dungy had 2-a-days. John Gruden had 2-a-days out in Celebration, which is out there in Orlando. And I'm telling you, those 2-a-days, plus they had more work during the offseason, more physical work. It did harden the players. It really did. I can't remember seeing the soft tissue injuries, the little dings and minor injuries that I've seen. They didn't happen with the frequency back then that they are now. And I've talked to former players, Tony Mayberry. I saw him at an OTA where they had some of the legends come out. And we're just kind of talking about it. It's like the whole flag football underwear, OTAs and minicamp. It's just crazy because that wasn't the case back in the day. And I think these players were hardened. It did make their bodies more resilient. It's almost like you put on more armor with the harder the practices were. And I can't speak to serious injuries. Maybe the serious injuries aren't as plentiful, but the hamstrings and the muscle injuries and stuff, it just seems like with less work, they are more prevalent now. And I've got no scientific evidence to back that up, other than to say I remember what it used to be, and I know what it is now. And back then, you didn't have 5 receivers missing practice like you do now.
Yeah,
I don't know, just different times back then.
I totally understand what you're saying. I think you make a great point. I think it's the avoiding the big injury that's what they're trying to accomplish. Which is truly kind of the goal of practicing and participating less, because it is. I mean, such a blow when it's like. I mean, we kind of saw it with David Walker. When you get a player that gets a season-ending injury, and that didn't even happen with contact.
That's right.
They didn't even have the pads on yet. So I don't know. Sometimes it's just unavoidable. I always kind of lean on, if you're thinking about it, that's when it happens to you, versus like if you just kind of let it go, then it doesn't become an issue too much. There's no doubt that the Bucs have been hit a little bit, whether it's Tristan Wirfs or David Walker or Chris Godwin goes back a little bit further for sure. But even some of the injuries right now, like will Tez Johnson be one day? Why has Cameron Johnson not practicing in a couple of days when Cameron Johnson is like truly fighting for his NFL?
No, there's no doubt. Yeah.
There's no guarantee Cameron Johnson's going to be on this team.
You can't help the club in the tub. That's the old saying. And at some point in time, the front office, the coaches, they just grow frustrated. It's like, if you can't stay healthy, like, you're not helping us, right? And it's like when you're on the field and you're dazzling and you're having good practices one day, and then the next day you're unavailable. It's like that gnaws at you as a coach, and as because the greatest ability is availability. If you're not available, you're of no help to this team. And so at some point in time, it's like it's an hourglass, and as those grains of sand drip through there, those are the days you're not practicing. This team grows impatient with you, and they move on. Like DJ Williams, they just cut him. They're like, hey, like, you can't help us. You're the 4th string running back. We need a running back in here that can stay healthy and run the ball. And so that's just the business side of the NFL.
Yeah, position by position is I think so important too. Where Cameron Johnson's competing with a lot of other wide receivers. Where Michael Pratt on the other side, there's no other quarterback, so they can kind of wait a little bit. But each injury is a little bit different too. Depending on kind of what's going on. Some you kind of can't really avoid, but some of these soft tissue and hamstring stuff, it seems like you can. So
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know, it's tough.
What's tough is when you're paying too much for insurance, and the folks over at Bragg Reeves, they're going to make sure that you don't. So here's my question to you, Pewter people. Do you want to save money on your car insurance or your homeowner's insurance? If the answer is yes, then do what I've done. I've called Bragg Reeves Insurance, and I said, hey, can you shop around the different carriers in my state, which is the great state of Florida, and find me the best rates? And they've done that. And I save money as a result. I'm with Travelers Insurance now, but they also rep Geico. They rep a ton of different providers, and they'll take your family, how many vehicles you have, what are the age of the drivers, all into consideration, and they're going to shop that around. They're going to do the legwork for you. So you don't have to make the calls or go on the websites. Just give Briar Greaves Insurance a call at 813-876-4166 and save some money. And you know what? If you have a great rate, Briar Greaves Insurance are going to tell you, hey, you know what? Stick with the rate that you've got. This is fantastic. But if you don't, they can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So why not give them a call? It's a free call, no obligation, but let them shop your homeowners, let them shop your auto. If you have a boat, they can give you some boat insurance. If you're in a flood zone, guess what? We're in hurricane season. Yeah. You need to have flood insurance in case the creek rises, the river floods, in case the storm surge comes from a hurricane. If you're in a coastal area, make sure that you have flood insurance. Your homeowner's insurance isn't enough. So do what I've done. Work with an independent agency you can trust. Heck, folks, Jason Light even uses Briar Greaves. He said that on our podcast. Go to BriarGreavesInsurance.com, BriarGreaves insurance.com, and save some money, or give them a call at 813-876-4166.
Couple of other parting thoughts before we wrap up the show, just kind of other things that happened at practice today. Garrett Green, we talked about before, wide receiver. He got absolutely walloped on one play towards the latter half of practice. Made a nice catch, like kind of towards the sideline on the right side. And Roman Parody, who's fighting to make this team, just absolutely clocked him. It was the best hit of practice.
We were this close to getting into some skirmishes today.
Yes, the chippiness was there for sure.
Yeah,
Sterling Shepard seems to be in it a lot, but O'Keefe too was in it today.
O'Keefe and Antonio Greer were this close away from going at it. Kayvon Merriweather had some big hits today as well. Yes. I think he's really impressed. Shiloh Sanders has got to really step up. I know he's got a lot of fans out there.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the camps that Christian Izzian and Kayvon Merriweather have had, not to mention Antoine Winfield Jr. and Tyke Smith, but they're probably going to keep 4 safeties and 6 cornerbacks because you got guys that can flex. J.J. Roberts is making this team, folks. He has looked outstanding as a nickel. He can also play safety, which is what he did at Marshall. So he's kind of that flex guy. You have a guy like Jacob Parrish who plays nickel. He can also play outside corner. I think that Merriweather has stepped up now with 2 interceptions, some big hits. J.J. Roberts has stepped up. Shiloh Sanders is a player that really kind of needs to, as we wrap up the second week of training camp, the first week in full pads, he's got to step up next week. He's got to start making some plays because we have seen pretty much everybody in this defense make some plays in the secondary, and now it's his turn.
Shiloh did have a pass breakup today, but when you compare it to everybody else that has done stuff, he's behind in that category. Kendall Vildor had another nice pass breakup today. He's someone that's kind of been floating around everywhere, but still going and making plays. I've been very impressed with Kendall Vildor. Someone I wasn't crazy familiar with, like coming from Detroit, but he certainly stood out.
He and Bryce Hall. I mean,
yes,
you've got 3 frontline guys, 4 frontline guys, right? You have Zion McCollum, you've got Jamel Dean. Those are the starters that have experience. You've got Jacob Parrish, you've got Benjamin Morrison, who's coming on like gangbusters right now. Those are your top 4 corners. Then you throw in Kendall Vildor and Bryce Hall, who both are quality veteran backups that can make plays and have done that so far. I mean, it's night and day at the cornerback position, and that's why I said you have a lot of corners on this team, and some of those guys can flex and play nickel as well. But those 4 safeties spots right now are kind of locked down, and we'll see if someone like Shiloh Sanders, can claw his way into the mix. He's got to show up in the preseason games, but man, Vildor has impressed me too, Matt.
The preseason games can be the great equalizer because there's some players that look great in practice, but then don't do anything in the games. And then there's the vice versa of doing nothing in practice, but then show up big time in games. I think if Shiloh wants a legitimate shot at making the 53-man roster, he's got to have some big games in the games themselves because there's only been a couple of plays here and there so far during training camp. Still, I think has a shot at the practice squad, but I mean, it's really, really good competition. It's great competition at that position.
Yep. Laura Licorice says, thanks for the walk-ons recommendations. Really good. Yeah, absolutely. If you're in town for training camp, we've run into a lot of out-of-town Bucs fans that are coming down for summer vacation and to check out a training camp practice. go to walk-ons. They've got 3 Tampa Bay area locations. Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, just down the road from One Buccaneer Place right here, and of course Lakeland. So sign up for that free walk-ons rewards app too, and when you do, you're going to get a free appetizer. So that's definitely a business we highly recommend. They're going to be partnering with us again for football season this year. So it's been a great first 2 weeks of practice, Matt. Yeah, there's been a couple of minor injuries, but I think outside of David Walker with that serious injury, everything else is recoverable. Even Baker Mayfield with a contusion on his throwing hand.
Yeah.
Probably going to get tomorrow off too. So you're off Friday, Saturday, no practice on Sunday, no practice on Monday. Probably should be good to go for next week. And that's a good sign because the Titans are coming to town next Thursday.
Yes, so much more to come. Very excited about this Bucs team. There is a practice again tomorrow that Pewter Report will be covering. Our next podcast isn't until Monday, but it is a really important show on Monday.
Bailey Adams and I will be talking with Coach Tony Dungy, former Bucs coach and Bucs Ring of Honor member, keeping close tabs on the NFL and Tampa Bay. Still lives in Avila, just down the street from John Gruden and Todd Bowles.
Wow.
They're all neighbors over there in Avila. And, of course, he works for NBC Sports. But he still, just like John Gruden, has the allegiance to the ties to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know he won a Super Bowl with the Colts, but you ask Coach Dungy, his favorite team is always going to be, it might be the Pittsburgh Steelers because he played for the Steelers. But and we're going to ask him about that too, the Steelers and the Bucs when they score up in the second week of the preseason. But he is he's still red and pewter. I'm telling you that right now. Coach Dungy will be on the show 4 to 5 p.m. next Monday, August 4th. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a great show.
And in the meantime, if you're not already doing so, please make sure you follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. So please like and subscribe. Thank you again to everybody that has subscribed to Pewter Report TV and getting us over 20,000 YouTube subscribers. We appreciate it so much, and we are so thankful for each and every one of you. As Shaggy says, hit that like button. Tell us your thoughts about Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask in the comments, or however you feel about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. But that's going to do it for us on today's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you soon for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.